Forces, in collaboration with the police, the Kilifi County Government and humanitarian organizations, on Thursday joined hands to rescue more than 3,000 who were at a risk of getting trapped in floods. KDF dispatched 2 helicopters and divers from Nairobi to facilitate the rescue mission in Garashi ward in Magarini Sub County in Kilifi County.
Hii ni operation kuhakikisha kwamba katika ndani ya Kilifi angalau hatupotezi maisha. Kwa hivyo tutafanya vovote vile kuona kwamba wale wote ambao wameathiriwa wamesaidiwa na serikali, na tunafanya kazi vizuri sana na serikali ya kitaifa. OCPD wa Malindi amenipigia hivi asubuhi, na kama vile nimevyotangulia kuzungumza ni kwamba polisi pia imepeana chopa hivi asubuhi kusaidia wale waathiriwa, na pia KDF kupitia Generali Mwateta Mboni pia ni mtoto hapa nyumbani, pia nao wametoa helicopter kusaidia hali.
And a children's rescue center in Naivasha has been closed down after it was flooded following the ongoing heavy rains. The administration regrets sending the over 100 children back to homes where they had been abused. The Catholic-owned St. Teresa Rehabilitation and Development Center is the only such center in Naivasha that takes care of sexually abused minors. The gushing waters also destroyed medical equipment worth millions of shillings and drugs at the health center within the facility. The center, which was shared by the children under the rehabilitation and the neighboring communities, also remains shut.
Barabara yote na ikabeba kila kitu kwa barabara. Hata kuingia na mguu kwa center ni shida kwa sasa. So ile kitu muhimu zaidi ni tuweze kupata barabara. Barabara ikitengezwa, tutaweza kufungua center, tufungue clinic, at least services ziweze kuendelea pole pole.
Now, many a millennial today typing away on a tablet or mobile phone may never know just what a challenge communication was 10 or 15 years ago. While indeed telecommunication has made massive strides in recent times, many remember the challenges of old with nostalgia, as Tobias Chanji now reports in today's edition of The Throwback in Business.
Barua yako nimekwisha ipata sheri, nia yako tupendane wawili.
Light blue, yellow or green were the trademark colors for call boxes or telephone calling booths that were the mainstay of communication in the later years of the last century. The booths were erected both in urban and rural areas. And for many, communication meant being at 2 different booths at the same time. One to receive and one to make the call. Confidentiality of the conversation was just a myth. Then with those standing in the long queue that often formed outside these boxes, looking over your shoulder to remind you that you are taking too long.
Mara ya kwanza nikaa niko Mombasa, nampigia simu yuko huku, alikuwa yuko kazini, ikawa akaniambia ningoje, alikuwa yuko busy na wageni. Sasa ile time naambiwa ningoje, itabidi kato ingoje mwingine akuje apige simu. So
to many, making a call was like climbing Mount Everest, as it was often a very hard task. In that day and age, it took a call box for one to know the real worth of a shilling, because this often defined an extra minute of talk time.
Hapa nilikuwa nikipigia hapa posta hapa unapoona hapa. Kulikuwa na booth kama 2 hivi. Lakini zenyewe zilikuwa zinakwama kila wakati. Kuna watu wengine walikuwa wakiunganisha waya, wanachukua kawaya na hapo ndani wanaunganisha, wanapiga simu. Siku zingine wanaenda wanakuta zile booth zimejaa, hata hakuna mahali unaweza piga simu. Tunaongojea karibu lisali moja ndio watu wapungue.
Na hizo simu za call booth kwa tuna ujanja mwingi ambao ulikuwa zatumika. Mara mtu anaweka shilingi, hiyo shilingi wengine sijui ulikuwa anaweka kamba, ikifika haianguki iko pale pale, mtu anaweza ongea. Sasa wengine wapigiwa simu wamwambia nipigie kesho time fulani, utakuwa umeenda kuingoja hapo ili upigiwe simu yake. Hatakuwa na simu kama mobile.
Nowadays, it's too easy to track numbers on your call logs. This is so different with the olden days where one had to pick a call to identify the voice on the other side, sometimes struggling due to a poor connection or even bad weather.
Shida moja ilikuwa ni watu wako wengi, unapata watu wako line, alafu unapata design. Hata ukipiga namba ya mtu kikosea moja huwezi jua ina display. Sasa ndio ilikuwa inatu disappoint kidogo, lakini ilikuwa muhimu juu at least communication ilikuwa tu ni hiyo. Sasa ilikuwa inatusaidia juu yenyewe kuwa na communication nyingine.
The area behind me is one of the places where calling booths were located, but for now it is deserted compared to the years of 1990s where long queues were experienced. Tobias Chanji, KTN News, Throwback Business.
Oh, how interesting. And many of us really remember those days with nostalgia. Many thanks for that story, Tobias. Let's move on now. And over 30 million children of primary school age in Africa are out of school, a new World Bank report says. The report entitled Facing Forward, Schooling for Learning in Africa, Regional Study on the Quality of Basic Education, however, observes that Africa governments have extraordinarily improved enrollments of children into schools in the last 20 years. The World Bank Education Sector Manager for Eastern and Southern Africa region of the World Bank, Dr. Sajitha Bashir, however, say that Africa still faces serious challenges in terms of quality of education for children in the first 9 years of basic education. She spoke at the just-ended Pan-African Education Conference that was held here in Nairobi.
And that children cannot learn if they're not safe, if they don't feel confident, if they're not protected. And that is something we have to really consider as part of the minimum package for the learning environment in each school.
We at UNESCO, we are working with African countries to set up a convention on recognition for diplomas and qualification, so that if you move from Kenya, you go to Congo or to DRC or South Africa, you don't have any problem with your diploma, you can get a job. And this is a big, big obstacle to mobility, which is important. It's a big issue for development. We need also that among ourselves, among Africans, we recognize the diplomas from other countries.
All right, and now we want to talk